want to bring in retired Brigadier General Steve Anderson and Jamil Jaffer, who was Associate White House Counsel to President George W. Bush, handling national security issues. Thank you both for being here, particularly at this time. General, let me begin with you, because the Times is reporting about Iran's supreme leader ordering a direct attack against Israel. Did you expect that response, and what might that look like?
Well, I think that we saw back in April about 300 missiles were launched from Iran, that took quite a while to get to Israel. So I think the next time that they do this, they're going to launch it from a place much closer to Israel, like Lebanon or maybe Iraq or Syria. But I would be really most concerned, I think, about an indirect attack on a soft target. I think that they're going to be looking at terrorist-type activity. I think that that's probably the most effective way to make their point. I just think the Israelis are too strong to fight, toe-to-toe, and I think that they're going to look at some kind of a soft target. And I would also look at a terrorist attack, perhaps even in the United States, because we have supported Israel every step of the way, and they know that, and they want to make us pay for it.
Are you suggesting that there could be something like that happening on American soil, or
Absolutely.
you mean?
Absolutely. I think it's something that we should be thinking about. I'd be most concerned probably with U.S. troops already stationed in the region. We have troops in Syria. We have troops in Qatar. We have troops out in the Med, in the Red Sea, and of course we had at Al Udeid Air Base, places like that. Our American soldiers over there are exposed, and that would, of course, put it, they're in extreme danger right now. But I would not rule out some kind of attack in the United States.
God bless and protect our troops. Absolutely. My goodness, thinking how foreboding that response is. And Jamil, based on what the general is saying, it makes sense, perhaps, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is urging Qatar to appeal not only to Iran, but also to Hezbollah. Secretary of Defense Austin is also urging for calm. How does this even complicate the U.S.'s position in this entirety?
Well, look, in a lot of ways, it's pretty straightforward, right? Israel was attacked on October 7th. 1,100 people plus people were killed. 250 people kidnapped, some Americans still being held hostage in Gaza. If you have an opportunity to take out the leader of the group that directed that attack, you take it every time, and the United States should back that up. At the same time, taking that shot in Iran and Tehran, certainly provocative, but makes a point, because at the end of the day, who paid for those attacks? Iran. Who's been paying for the Hezbollah rocket attacks on Israel? Iran. Who's been paying for the Red Sea attacks by the Houthis against international shipping? Iran. So let's be honest. Iran got what it deserved with an attack in Tehran and a killing of one of its proxy leaders. At the end of the day, that's the bottom line. And so whoever else can get them on board with understanding if they keep doing this, this is going to keep happening. And so they shouldn't be surprised, and they shouldn't respond, because this is their own making.
On that part of strength and expectation, I do wonder if Iran, given that somebody was killed in their own capital, that they will factor that into their response to have the perceived foreign bravado.
Well, they've got to think twice about that, because the Israelis have shown that they have the ability to conduct precision strikes in the middle of Tehran. And they took out Hanaya. They can also take out senior leaders in Iranian leadership, too. I mean, the fact that they were able to pull this off is absolutely stunning, Laura. 1,000 miles away, to be able to penetrate airspace, no matter how they launch the attack, be it locally or from a long distance using precision-guided munitions or some kind of a drone attack, no matter how they did it, the fact that they were able to pull this off is absolutely stunning, and it puts everybody on notice in that region that Israel has the capability to take them out.
All our eyes and minds are, of course, on the hostages and the civilians who are in the wake of all of this. Thank you both so much. Steve Anderson, Jamil Jaffer.